Oregon Governor Tina Kotek celebrated her first year in office today by pointing to her achievements and credit where credit is due. There are a few big ones. Last year, Kotek said right from the start that she wanted to dedicate a lot of her energy toward housing and the homeless crisis affecting communities across the state. She declared a homeless state of emergency on her first day in office last year. The governor's office released some data today, reporting that they exceeded the housing goals that they made for last year. The original goal was to create 600 new low-barrier shelter beds across the state. Kotek's office says they created more than 1,000. The next goal was to rehouse 1,200 households that had become homeless, and they beat that one by nearly 100. However, it would be nice to know how many of those folks stayed in that housing. We did not get that number. Next, prevent 8,750 households from becoming homeless by offering them things like rent assistance. They say they kept 8,886 families in their homes. This data comes from Oregon Housing and Community Services, though it's only preliminary data right now. They say the final numbers will be ready in February. So I think we have to say, based on those numbers, well done. It's good to see a governor put out a target and then actually hit it. But if you look around outside or you've had your own worries about your own housing in the past year, you do know that we have a long ways to go still. So today, the governor signed a pair of new executive orders, extending the state's housing state of emergency and directing the Interagency Council on Homelessness to put plans on her desk. Kotek says she's going to be asking state lawmakers for $500 million more for a housing bill in the upcoming session that starts in a few weeks.
That proposal includes money for infrastructure. We heard last year that one of the reasons that production is not happening is that there are infrastructure barriers. There's going to be money to incentivize for infrastructure. There will be some conversation about land supply. It is one piece of it.
That's a hot topic. Kotek today also talked about getting involved in things going on in Portland. Her Central City Task Force just wrapped up 3 months of brainstorming and presented their recommendations on how to fix the problems going on in Portland. One of their ideas was to create yet another state of emergency, this one for fentanyl in Multnomah County. Kotek says she plans to announce that one next week.
When I was on the road talking to Oregonians, they were always asking, how are things in Portland? We know that our major city has to be successful. I know that we see just the sheer number of people in the city of Portland and Multnomah County who are struggling right now is very obvious, right? A lot of people live there. We need to focus there. The Portland Central City Task Force brought the private sector, the governmental sector, the community sector together and said, what can we do together to make sure Portland's on a better track?
Multnomah County and Portland say they also exceeded their goals this year, adding 141 new shelter beds, rehousing 191 people, and helping keep 1,400 households in their homes. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler held his own press conference today.
I urge the governor and the legislature to continue to support these efforts, as cities and counties cannot do this work alone at the scale necessary to be successful.
Now, if you're keeping track at home, we've got the governor's state of emergency for homelessness that she extended today, the fentanyl state of emergency that she's announcing next week, and for nearly a decade now, Portland has been in a housing state of emergency that was declared all the way back in 2015. So a lot of emergencies. So how will we know when the emergencies are over? Here's Kotek's answer. You can decide for yourself if it satisfies you.
People know that we have work to do here, that even though we're making progress, and we're starting to see more folks having a place to go instead of living on the streets. But we're not there yet. When 20,000 plus Oregonians, according to the most current PIT count, point in time count, are saying people are experiencing homelessness, and we know that's an undercount, that's way too many people, right? So we can't take our foot off the gas here. We have to continue to do what we're doing. Now, remember, with the emergency order, and the very specific community goals that we set and the resources we put towards it, nearly 10,000 Oregonians were either prevented from becoming homeless or were rehoused out of shelter. That's progress.
All right, and now we want to know from you. A year in, what do you think about how Governor Kotek has been doing? Send us an email. The address is thestory@kgw.com, or call and leave a voicemail. The number is 503-226-5090.